Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm joined by Chris, my brother, and we're going to be doing a comparison test with his VW Lupo GTI and my Swift Sport. So let's start with Chris's Lupo GTI then. So you've had it, how long you had it?
Since last summer.
You've had it since last summer, that's right. Now what makes this model quite rare is the fact that this colour, the laser blue, is very rare colour. So there's only about 3 or 4?
There's only about 4 others in the country.
4 others in the country, so it's quite a rare colour. And the other thing is, they started making it was 1999. The first one's up to 2005. And what makes it distinctive is the fact that the front, the panels and the bonnet is actually made of aluminium, which obviously keeps the weight down. This car weighs just under a tonne. And also it's got features like Xenon headlights, and you can have, which this car has got, is we've got heated leather and aircon. Again, rare options back in 2002, 2003, something like that. So we're going to start off with the Lupo. I'm going to have a bit of a drive and just talk a bit more about it. In the Lupo now. First thing I've noticed is these nice leather heated seats, which obviously my car doesn't have.
No, one of the very few things your car doesn't have.
It is, yeah, it is really. But
yeah, they were a really expensive option when you.
Yeah.
So a lot of the GTIs didn't actually have them. So I was lucky enough to find one that did, and it's brilliant to have heated seats during this time of the year.
Yeah, especially when
the car's left outside all night.
Cold mornings, yeah, definitely. Another thing I've noticed as well, obviously this road isn't exactly smooth, but there's no real rattles or squeaks on the interior. To say it's like 12 years old, you know, it's good the fact that there's no squeaks or rattles. Obviously that's to do with, it's obviously German and things like that, but you know.
Yeah, well, and also to be fair, it's only this car's actually only 51,000 miles.
Yeah, true. So you obviously you don't expect any. I
mean, by standards of most 12-year-old cars, it's nothing. So.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you do. They are very well. They were very well put together.
Yeah, definitely.
They were built at a time when VW was sort of, well, the way that it was put together. There are a lot of differences between this car and a standard Volkswagen Lupo.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that you wouldn't really get today. So, for instance, thinner window glass.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Obviously, we've already mentioned aluminium
front,
panels, and the engine itself is bespoke to this car and the Polo GTI, which it was shared with. So, you know, this kind of thing, it doesn't really happen these days.
It doesn't know.
They put a lot of thought into this car, and with a lot of modern sort of hot hatches these days, a lot of manufacturers, you know, they lower the suspension, put a big engine in, and that's about it.
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
This one is
they've gone a bit further.
Very different. Yeah.
And also, as we know now, a lot of cars are going turbocharging. And that's just the way forward.
Yeah,
I think to have cars like this that are naturally aspirated is great.
Yeah, it is. It's naturally aspirated 1.6, so
yeah.
You've got 125 horsepower.
Yeah, I'll put the specs obviously on the video just below, but yeah, 125 into it.
Yeah, so it's very, very similar figures to your car.
That's obviously the reason we're doing this review. Is they are, when you think about it and you look at the spec sheets, they are very similar. Obviously, I think my weighs a little bit more, just over 1,000. Yours is just below 1,000, isn't it? Kilos. So it's so yeah, it's like I say, I do like this interior, and like I say, you know, it's well put together. And
the other thing to mention about the interior is that obviously this car at the time was the smallest car VW made, but the fit and finish of the interior is very impressive.
It is.
To say that the car, and that doesn't just go for the GTI, that goes for all Lupos.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the interior is virtually the same.
Yeah.
I mean, this particular car has got a 6-disc CD changer.
Yeah.
So I'm still the guy that still goes and buys CDs in shops, but no one else does anymore. But,
yeah, that's where obviously my car, you can see, is obviously advanced in terms you got USB and things like that. So yeah, you know, that's obviously where the age comes into the fact that you've got 6 CD changer. But yeah, obviously in terms of the engine performance, it's very.
And this car is completely standard. It's quite rare for them to be standard. A lot of them do get modified.
Yeah, obviously.
I think it's a bit of a shame. But
yeah.
This is actually the second Lupo GTR that I've
It
had.
is.
I did have a grey one prior to that, and it had coilover suspension.
Yeah.
This one is just on the standard springs, and it depends what you want from the car.
Yeah, exactly.
This, this car, it rides better than my old one. The ride is a lot comfier, but you do have to compromise because the handling it's a little bit floatier.
Yeah.
It doesn't hang on quite as tightly as the old one used to.
No.
On these types of roads.
But I suppose the type of driving you do a lot more town than you do these type of roads. So
I mean,
having that softer side is better.
Yeah.
You know.
Unfortunately for me, it's rare for me to be able to come out and have a drive on some nice roads.
Yeah,
Most of the time I spend sat in traffic. So
Yeah, traffic.
in that respect, it doesn't really matter.
No.
This car's not got low suspension, and I'm perfectly happy with it as it is. But it's a very, very common modification to lower the car a little bit, and it does improve the look
Yeah,
of
you
the
can
car
tell that.
to
Yeah,
a
it
point.
does. Because I think obviously with the slightly lower suspension, it does sit a lot better. I think slightly better.
Yeah.
Obviously sit a bit lower and you're that bit low to the ground. So yeah, but I think like we said, when you get into the town in it, obviously the ride is then pretty harsh. You know, there's not much given suspension.
Yeah, and I think the combination of having stand springs and these seats does mean that this one is a lot comfier than my
Yeah,
old
exactly.
one.
Because these seats are really comfy,
Yeah.
and they are supportive as well. They are just supportive.
You get a nice
Induction
to the
that
cabin,
induction
you know.
sound, and I think that's another thing. The fact with, you know, like I say, cars go turbo strong, you do miss that sort of induction sound.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of cars these days, you do hear a bit of the turbo, and you know the fact that the torque, obviously the torque's a lot different. But saying that, obviously, just the fact that this car's short geared, you know, you can leave it in a higher gear for a lot longer.
And also, this particular car, should mention, it has got a K&N air filter on it.
Yeah, which obviously.
And there's not a big difference, but it just gives you that little bit extra.
I think
That you wouldn't get. But I mean, this car has got comes as standard with twin centre exit exhaust at the back, and that in itself makes a nice noise.
It makes a decent noise. Yeah.
And I've always said, you know, you can never get a brilliant noise out of a 4-cylinder car. So I'm pretty happy with the noise this one makes, to be honest. Unless you're talking about Honda VTECs, generally the amount of noise you can get from this type of engine there's always a limit. To,
Yeah, there
to
is.
what
Yeah,
you
there's
can
only
do.
so much you can go.
But yeah, I've owned the car since the summer, and I've done about 6,000 miles in it so far. Well, I mean, this is my second one, so you can probably gather out how much I enjoy it. I enjoy the car, so it's and they are becoming very collectible now. There was a feature in Modern Classics magazine a couple of issues back, and this was in one of the top 10 cars to invest in the next 10 years, with the likelihood of them going up in value. I've noticed since I bought my first grey one in 2011, and did 23,000 miles in it, and still managed to get more than I paid. So that tells you, you know, that they are certainly going up in value. But the key thing is they have to be kept in vaguely standard condition.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to add coilovers, etc., that's okay, but completely changing the car is not the way to go if you want something that's going to A, hold its value, or B, go up in value in the coming years.
Exactly.
So
That's it.
I've been waiting for a long time now for VW to release this Up GT, which would be the replacement for this car.
Yeah, that's what you said.
But they still haven't done that. So
I mean, I know they have brought like a sort of a little bit quicker version of the Up.
yes,
But
but
it's not in the same sort of league as this
not
car.
at the performance level of this
No,
car.
it's not. No.
Because this car really, when going back to when it was first built, VW they were not in a place where they were really doing well with performance cars.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
the Mark IV Golf GTI was out, which we I think most people pretty much agree was the worst of
Yeah.
the bunch
Yeah.
as regards Golf GTIs. So there was that, and this was really the only real proper performance car, along with the Polo GTI as well,
Yeah.
which is at the same time that VW were making. So that's a reason why it's often sort of said to be the true successor to the Mark 1 Golf GTI, because I mean, if you compare the size of a Mark 1 with the size of a Mark 7 Golf GTI, there's a huge difference.
There is, yeah.
now.
Yeah, there is.
Whereas the Lupo is a similar size to what the Mark 1 Golf was when it first came out, and just that, you know, short wheelbase, punchy
Keeping the weight
engine,
down as well, which is a massive thing.
lightweight.
Yeah.
It's kind of a homage to that car.
It is, yeah. That's the sort of the recipe to get a decent hot hatches weight, you know, punchy engine, like you said.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's not
decent chassis.
going to win any races, this car, but it's perfectly quick enough. And the great thing about it is that the 6-speed cars, which came in 2001, give you that extra ratio, so you can really work the gears, and you can make some good progress without, you know, getting into license losing speeds.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Very, very similar with the Swift in that respect.
It is, yeah. So we'll go into that one.
And these
Yeah.
cars are dying out, really. I mean, if you wanted to get something like this brand new, you'd probably be looking at a Swift like what you've got.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. There's not a great deal.
It's not really a great deal.
There's a Renault Sport Twingo, but that's not made anymore.
No, that's not really.
So it's difficult to find cars like this now, and that's obviously another thing that could well mean that the
Help
increasing
the
value.
increasing value, exactly. That people are wanting these type of cars.
Yeah. And just to mention the colour as well, my old grey one that had there was only around 35 of that variant colour made in the Lupo GTI, so that was one of the rarest colours. And obviously the rarity of the car themselves, I mean, there's only around 700 left on the road in the UK. So that means that when you're looking to buy one, you can't really be too fussy when it comes to colours. And I really, when I was first looking for one, I really wanted a blue one, but because of the rarity, there was none for sale, so I had to compromise on the colour. And when this came up for sale, I had a look at the colour, and there are 2 shades of blue. There's Raven Blue, which they made around 70, 75, and then there's Laser Blue. Now, Laser Blue, the Mark 5 Golf GTI was coming out in 2005, and VW were going to offer that in Laser Blue. So for some reason, which I don't think anyone really knows why,
No, I don't think they do. No.
right at the very end of the production of the Lupo GTI, they changed the shade to Laser Blue, and it's disputed how many. I mean, I would guess there were no more than 5 cars in this colour which were made, which obviously exceptionally rare. And this is the rarest colour of the Lupo GTI. So, and obviously this particular car added in with the heated leather seats and the aircon CE changer.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there was another car with the exact same spec as this.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about spec. This is probably you can't get any more. There's nothing else you can have.
No, it's pretty much the only
Top
other thing
spec.
you can have is a sunroof.
But
Which it was extremely unlikely that people spec that. I mean, I've only ever seen probably one other car which has had a sunroof.
yeah. But apart from that,
But aside
it's
from
got
that, this has got all the options on it that were available when it was new.
yeah, I mean, I just touched on obviously the colour. Like I said, not many people know how rare this car is. They just think, oh, that's another.
Well, the guy who I bought it from didn't know how rare
Well, that's
it was.
true. Yeah, that's.
Because I got a really good price, and that was partly because he didn't realise there was a lot of demand for the car when it came up for sale. I had to leave a deposit without even looking at it.
Yeah.
Because obviously all the people who were in the know about these cars knew that it was Laser Blue, and that was an extremely rare colour.
So that's it, really. That's. I hope you enjoyed that little, obviously, review of this car. So I know you lot like it. I like it as well. It's a great car. So we'll get into the Swift, and so my car now, the Swift. So
well, immediately as I get in here, I can already see I've got a little bit more luxury. Well, for this size of car anyway. I mean, we've got sat nav, we've got cruise, we've got AUX input. That's all stuff that I don't have in my car.
Yeah. Obviously, that's due to the age as well.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know, the fact that obviously it's a modern car, so you're likely to have options like AUX and things like that. So most modern cars now have that as standard.
Yeah.
And obviously cruise as well. That's
something I would like to have in my car.
And to be fair, for a car this size, it's actually quite rare. And to have it as standard. Now that is something I will just mention, is everything you see in here is standard, which is one of the things that attracted me to this car, is the fact that there's no options. I think the only option was to have one of these panels in silver. I think that was it. But everything else you see is standard, which is great. So what you see is what you get with this car, which is what I like, because it saves you. You look at one car and it might have cruise, you look at another it hasn't, and you think, it's a bit frustrating with that. But
when you're looking for your ideal spec, and
exactly.
They all come with your ideal spec.
Exactly, yeah.
Which
is what I like.
And again, that's another slight negative with the Lupo, is that, again, due to the rarity of the car, obviously a lot of people do want to have air conditioning. My first one, my grey one, didn't have air conditioning. But again, it's something that you just have to accept, because if the car itself is in good condition, that's the main thing.
Well, that's it, yeah, exactly.
And everything else, you have to compromise on that. And thankfully, finding the blue one, it had everything that I would have wanted.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
I was lucky in that respect,
I mean, you'll try and find the likelihood of another one coming for sale is very rare.
It's very almost impossible that would happen.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, obviously.
I think this car doesn't have leather seats; it's just got the standard cloth seats, but they are a little bit more supportive. They do hold you in with the bolsters at the side, which I quite like. And mine, it does have bolsters, but they don't quite hold you in quite as tightly. So that's another slight difference.
Another thing as well, obviously, I know it's not really, if it's about fuel, I know obviously we don't really want to talk about fuel, but both cars are really good on fuel.
Yes, yeah. I mean, on a longer drive, I can get 40 mpg out of mine.
Yeah, mine's the same.
And it drops to around 28-30 around town. So I'm pretty happy with that for a 1.6. I mean, like we said, we don't buy them for the economy, but when you're on a long drive, it's really good to see. It's good to see, that you can get a decent mileage out of a tank. One of the issues with my car is that VW, they changed they made the thinner glass, aluminium, etc., but they didn't bother to fit a bigger fuel tank. So
exactly.
My car's got the same fuel tank as the 1.7 diesel.
Yeah.
So I've only got a 34 litre tank. So
whereas this is obviously 42. So
so it's got a bigger tank.
It's got a lot bigger tank.
It's costing me between £30 and £40 to fill the car up. But I'm only the most I've ever got out of a tank is around 280 miles. So if you are doing proper long distances in it, then that could get a little bit tiresome.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, most of my driving is around town, so it's not something that particularly bothers me. Now, as we head out onto some faster roads, you can already tell that this car handles a lot better than mine. It feels a lot more planted, and I think they would have been in a closer comparison with my old Lupo with the low suspension.
Yeah, I mean,
but this one, it does feel a lot more planted than mine does.
Yeah, and obviously
carry higher speed into corners.
Yeah, and I think the thing about it is Suzuki have got it spot on with the fact that they've got a good balance between the handling and the ride comfort.
Yeah.
Because when you're in town, the ride isn't uncomfortable. It's perfectly comfortable for around town. Obviously, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's perfectly comfortable. I think that's a good thing, obviously. And you don't notice any body roll when you're out on these roads.
No.
It's a little bit, but there's not a lot at all, which is another great thing. So you've got that good balance between, like I say, comfort and handling. So yeah, obviously this is slightly more power, 134. So like I said, very close. Very slightly slow 0 to 60, but you're not really talking anything. And a lot of people on the internet and things like that have actually measured it, accurately, and I've got nearly 8 seconds rather than the 8.7. So a lot of people do say the 8.7 seems a bit slow for what the claim figure is. Say it feels a bit quicker than that. So obviously got 60. So like I say, I think the power comes in about 4,000 and then it really takes off. That's due to the fact that this is a valve timing, so it works similar to a bit like a VTEC in the fact that obviously the VTEC comes in right at the top end, whereas the Swift it's varied over the rev range, so it's like I say 4,000 onwards it really does take off, and that's the good thing. I mean, we say about turbocharging is all good, but to me the whole part of sort of the fun of it is revving it out, because you get that good sound and a bit more drama.
This rev line's at 7,200, mine's 6,800.
Yeah.
Whereas with a turbo car, you're never going to. It's rare that you would get that kind of.
No, because you're sort of out of buffer sort of 5,000, 5.5, you know. So yeah, that's another good thing with the Astra Aspirator, you know. And I think really this is probably the only car on sale today that is like this, you know.
Yeah.
Like usually the FVS ST that's turbocharged, and your 206 is their turbocharged, you know. And a lot of people have said on the internet it sort of harks back to the original Golf GTI in the way, you know, the characteristics of the car, the engine, things like that.
I think both cars are.
Both do, yeah, exactly. Both do.
Hark back to that time, and it's definitely dying out. But on the one hand, you can say that's bad because you want more Astra Aspirator cars. But on the other hand, it means that if you've got one of these cars, they're more likely to be more valuable in years to come.
Yeah, I mean, I think your car a lot more than this.
Well, I think this has still got a long way to go.
It has got a long way to go, being 2 years old, you know. Obviously, I know you guys are watching this have seen, I've already done a review on this car, but we just thought it'd be a good idea, due to the fact that both cars are very similar, we'd do a comparison.
And one other thing we haven't mentioned is that these cars, if you are similar age to us, I mean, I was 19 when I got my first GTI. They're the perfect starting point if you are a petrol head into kind of something that's a bit quicker.
Yeah, perfect.
You know, perfect amount of power.
And you're not going ridiculously quick to lose your license, are you?
No, that's it. And the insurance was reasonable because these are only 1.6 as opposed to 2 litres, so it's always worth thinking about that if you are looking to buy something like this.
Yeah, I agree. So that's it really. Like I say, I know you've seen a lot of this car before, but that's just our comparison view of of both cars. So thank you for coming along and bringing your car. So that's it, guys. I hope you remember to obviously comment, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.
2, 1, go!